Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Pichu, the 679th of my name. And today, I've been inspired, with the whole, spoiler alert for Jujutsu Kaisen My Hero Academia. Before we get into this video, I'm going to give you a few seconds to, just click off the video. Alright. So, I've been inspired by, Gojo's return in the manga to talk about two new gen series and how they kill off and bring back a important character in their series, right? So in this video I'm going to be talking about Gojo's death and return, sort of, it's complicated, I'll get to it, and Bakugo's death / return. So, yeah, let's get right into it. So, yeah, I want to start off by talking about Bakugo's death, because it happened a little before Gojo's death, so people may not be familiar all that much with it, because it wasn't as, it was big when it happened. Everyone was saying, oh, Bakugo dies chapter, I think it's, 362, I think it is. I don't actually know I don't know what chapter it is. Yeah, 362. Yeah, it's like, oh, Bakugo died in chapter 362, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, after a while, I kind of died. But, even to this day, Gojo, getting killed in the way he did, is still memed to this day, right? Which kind of just has the lasting power, which is why I want to talk about Bakugo's death first. So I have, the actual manga volume in which he dies. So, just for, reference, right, it's ooh, he's dead. So, yeah. So, what ends up happening is that he and Bakugo and a bunch of other heroes, they form, a strike force, and they get sent through a portal to go kill Shigaraki at this coffin in the sky they made for him to perfectly counter his decay anyways. Even if, even if they didn't have a razor, they still would be able to counter his decay. But he starts mutating with this giant motherfucking hand, so yeah, that kind of went to shit anyways. So they just had to keep a razor on his ass anyways. So yeah. So anyways, the fight goes on, stuff's kinda going down. Deku was supposed to be there, but Toga had to go and mess all of that up by kind of taking him through a portal to another area that they had planned for Toga to deal with, which honestly that area wasn't very good for her. But anyways, yeah. So anyways, after a while, Bakugo starts pulling out his Panzerfaust, I believe it's called. It's around here somewhere. Anyways, it's in here. This is a really good volume, actually. I know most people are I know a lot of people are mainly anime only and don't read the manga for stuff, but the manga is it's fun to watch stuff that is going to get adapted into the anime, right? You get to see all this stuff. Currently season 7's coming out, which is why I kind of wanted to talk about this before it happens in the anime, because we're kind of getting to there, right? We're not far off, right? We're in volume 36, right? We're in the Dabi versus Todoroki fight pretty much, right? We're in this volume, which means stuff from this volume is going to start happening very short. I'd say within the next month or two. At some point soon, Bakugo is going to die in the anime, right? It's probably going to bring this whole thing back up. So I want to be here early to catch that wave a little bit. So anyways, what ends up happening is that Bakugo ends up rushing Shigaraki, and, well, as in the image I've shown earlier, kind of gets his heart ripped out there, bud. Which, you kind of need your heart to live a little bit. So, yeah, this image circulated the internet for a very long time. And, yeah. It was definitely one of those images where it's you don't want to see it because you don't want to get spoiled, but it's still funny, right? And it's been long enough, so it's you probably should have seen it by now if you were at all invested in My Hero. So, yeah. Sucks, but hey, happens. Shit happens. So anyways, now on to the point of how they bring him back. So this is where like the way the characters are killed is kind of similar. Which obviously I'll bring out how Gojo dies real fast because we all know how it happens, right? Gojo ends up 1v1ing Sukuna, ends up in the 1v3, uses his hollow purple. I guess he gets tired of it. I don't have that volume. It's not out in Canada, so I guess he gets tired of it, and he just ends up dying after he uses hollow purple to get rid of Maharaga. And I think it's Agito is the name of the other one he pulls out. I don't know. Man, that shit gets like no attention at all. So yeah, but anyways, here's a Hollow Purple, and Sukuna ends up chopping him down the waist, gives him that 50% discount, you know, gives him that half off, half off the top, you know what I mean? So yeah, no, Gojo slumps over dead, and we all see the image. I might like just pop it up, but yeah, I don't think I need to. We all know what it is, really. So yeah, so the way the characters die are similar, but the way they bring them back is, I think, kind of the interesting part here, because people were kind of mad how they brought Gojo back in the manga, in the most recent chapters there, the recent couple. It's been on a break, which is why it's still like fresh, right? So yeah, that's the neat part about this video. I get to put it smack dab in between Gojo coming back and Bakugo's about to die. So it's like the perfect time to make this video. So yeah. Anyways, so how they bring back Bakugo is they have someone who was on that strike force. They have Edge Shot, and his quirk is that he can like turn into like little like needles, right? Like he can become like a crochet thing and like kind of stitch something back up. So what they plan on doing is they plan on making him a heart, because he took out his heart, right? His heart is gone. So they plan on making him a new heart, sacrificing Edge Shot, but bringing back Bakugo in the process. And while I may not know a lot about medical surgery and any of this at all, I don't know a lot about this, so this area is not of my expertise, but I think it kind of makes sense a little bit, right? Because it's technically an ass pull, but technically it's only an ass pull because he's never had to use it before, right? Because he's never had to bring someone back from the dead. So, yeah, no, that's really why it's an ass pull a little bit. But yeah. The thing is, though, is that like a lot of people might consider it just a major ass pull because it's like, oh, why is he able to do this? Well, I mean, it's not like it's without cost, right? He sacrifices himself. It's like a soul for a soul type of thing. So that's why, in theory, I'm fine with it, right? So, yeah, that's how they plan on bringing back Bakugo. And it eventually works, right? Bakugo comes back, and they keep fighting Shigaraki, right? That's how that all happens. I don't actually know what happens after they bring back Bakugo. Again, I don't have access to that manga volume yet. We are only on volume 38, which is the most recent one that came out early this month. This is upside down. Yeah. Oh, wait, okay, this is the next video. Yeah, 38. We are only on volume 38, and that does not have Bakugo return yet. So, yeah. It is... I'm still unsure on how that all happens, but you know, it'll be very interesting to see how all that works out, because I know I know what happens, but I don't really know like the full details of it. So it'll be fun to see that. However, with Gojo's return, it could really be kind of considered an ass pull a little bit, but it's also really convoluted a little bit because how it happens is that Yuta killed Kenjaku. Right? And Kenjaku's whole like curse technique was that he could possess other people's bodies by putting his brain into their body and then piloting their body, right? Which is what he was doing to Geto after Geto died, after Yuta killed Geto. Right? So, yeah. It's kind of how all that went down originally. So, yeah. Sukuna kills Gojo. So Yuta ends up going to kill Kenjaku for a reason or another. I don't fully know why reason, because we're on like I think 30 Actually, no, we're not even in the 30s. We're like 22 in Canada. The 23rd comes out in August. So, yeah, it's unfortunate how that all pans out. But, yeah, no, it's fine. Really, it's at the end of the day, it's all fine. So, yeah, what they end up doing is they have Yuta copy Kenjaku's quirk. Which he needs to see it, which technically he did. So he can use his quirk to take his brain and put it into Gojo's body, right? However, there are like 3 possibilities. So with his quirk being weird, he can only copy it for 5 minutes, right? So after the 5 minutes, there's like 3 possibilities that can happen, right? One of which being he just flat dies on the spot. The second one the first one is that he dies flat on the spot because when he loses the quirk after the 5-minute copy, it would kind of just fry his brain a bit, right? Because his brain isn't in the right spot, and so he would kind of just die on impact, pretty much, which would really suck. The second option would be that the curse technique kind of just permanently curses him to stay in Gojo's body, effectively killing Yuta and Rika along with it, technically, a little bit. I don't know. No, I think we'll just release Rika. I don't actually know, because it's weird. Rika's weird in this whole situation. Rika makes this all really weird, because I don't think Yuta gets Rika when he's in Gojo's body. I don't think so, at least. But, yeah, the third option is that he just dies slowly. It's that eventually his brain will die out in Gojo's body. So eventually he'll just die. Like after like a month or some shit. Like I don't really know the timeline for that. It's all weird. It's a really convoluted system with a bunch of hypotheticals. It's like, oh, what if? It's a whole lot of what ifs. Which is really weird, personally. And I know I'm showing it sounds like I'm hating on Jujutsu Kaisen here a lot. But I feel like it's just like a really weird way to do this. Right? Like, they bring Gojo back from the prison realm. Right? They get Angel, bust him out the prison realm. Gojo immediately goes to confront Kenjaku. Right? Eventually he ends up leaving. They make a plan for what they're going to do against Sukuna, who is currently inhabiting Megumi's body. I don't know if it's at the time. I think it's at the time. Yeah, I think so. So, yeah. So, yeah. He goes to face Sukuna, and ends up dying, as we all know. All that nonsense. So, yeah. Realistically, I feel like this was the more convoluted of the 2 methods because, like, it really relies on Gojo, on, like, people just, like, being along for the ride and not really thinking about it a whole lot, right? Because if you think a lot about how, like, Ensha brings back Bakugo, you sort of realize that, oh, this actually makes sense in reality, a little bit. I say a little bit because it's kind of like he's, like, stitching together, trying to, like, fix him from the inside, right? However, the more you think about Gojo's return, the less it makes sense in the grand scheme of things. Because it, like, it involves a whole lot of just absolute nonsense. Logic just to, like, make sense of itself, right? It's kind of weird how it works. Because it's like, oh, he can just take this in any way he wants, right? There's no guarantee for what's about to happen. The whole thing is basically just a gamble show for him. He doesn't know what's going to happen, and there's no, like, precedent to know what would happen, right? So at the end of the day, it's all just a bunch of luck, really. Or just how Gege wants to write it. So either way, you can make a bunch of hypotheticals based off of this exact situation. And like, oh, what if he lived? What if he was forced to stay in his body? What if he just flat died? What if he died after a while? Right? It's really just a convoluted, not mess, because I feel like Gege knows what he's doing here. A little bit, maybe. I hope he knows what he's doing. A lot of people have been crapping on his story writing recently because they just assume he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Which I don't think that's true. I feel like he knows what he's doing. But it's like, really in a spot where it's like, are we sure he knows what he's doing? Because he's playing with a lot of forces that are not something someone would play with if they knew what they were doing. Right? 'Cause if he knew what he was doing, he would have probably have just had Itadori just eventually kill Sukuna, right? That would be the safe way to play it. Just like have the story. Okay. Have the story eventually wrap itself around to Itadori killing Sukuna and having the day saved that way, right? Eventually, that probably was the safest play. However, this is a very interesting play on Gege's part. That if he can play it properly and it actually works, better most of all, if it works, that would be impressive. If it were to work. If it doesn't work, it is going to be so stupid. Like if it works, then yeah, absolutely, I'm excited to see if it works. If it doesn't work, this is just gonna blow. This is just gonna suck. I feel like this is just a really weird way to bring this whole idea, because everyone was assuming that Gojo would be back. People weren't believing it, right? People just were kind of. People were like weird. Like, I don't want to say people were weird. Like, there were people who were really. I guess there were some people who were really weird about the idea that Gojo would come back. And there's a bunch of like theories. It's like, oh, look at this volume cover. It has Gojo on the cover. It's ignoring the fact that that is the exact same volume with the chapter that Gojo dies in, because we know the chapters long before the volumes come out, right? So it makes the whole, oh, this is what this volume cover looks like. It makes it really redundant, because we already know what the chapters are before we know what the volume cover is, right? So, like, when it comes to that, like, Gojo image, it really kind of just paints the picture that people are a little bit antsy about this whole idea. People are very into the idea, right? So if they don't do this right, there's going to be hell to pay. And by that, I mean people are going to be mad if they do not take this in a favorable position for Yuta. Personally, how I would like to see it happen is that Yuta, this is a sacrificial moment, right, for Yuta. Because he's giving up his own body, he's giving up Rika, he's giving up basically everything for a last-ditch play to kill Sukuna. The way I'd want this to end is not that he dies at the 5 minutes, right? That just seems like a waste of time. It also doesn't make any sense, because it would have taken him more than 5 minutes to get here, right? His copy would have already have ended, right? So we can kind of get rid of the first option, right? That no longer is a factor. The fact he's at the fight means it's only one of two options. The fact he's even in the fight in the first place means he's either going to die slowly, or he's going to just stay in the body, right? But that seems just too much like a reward for this type of sacrificial play, right? It seems like you gain too much for what you're losing, right? Because it's maybe like a sacrificial play, right? This played off as a sacrificial play from Yuta, right? It's kind of like, oh, you hero, we'll remember you for the rest of your day, for the rest of our lives, or what have you, right? It's meant to be a sacrifice. Kind of, this is what's portrayed as, right? So just having him just become a better version of Gojo, with a more calm mentality and a better understanding of Gojo's abilities, is kind of just a cop-out a little bit, right? Because it's like, you trade immature Gojo for better Gojo, really. It's all you really trade it for. And like, oh yeah, Yuta loses out on having an interesting love life. And that's like, really? You just get rid of his love life and Rika? You get rid of Rika and you get rid of the Yuta and Maki ship for just having the strongest sorcerer bar none at this point. Because Yuta is just because if Yuta had the same abilities as Gojo, Yuta would win. Yes, Gojo has the expertise of the ability because he's born with it, so he has more experience with it. I feel like Yuta would still win, right? Because he's more ruthless, I feel, at least. Yes, Gojo is ruthless and does have that point 2 domain, which in theory he could have just popped that immediately and just, I don't know. I feel like that probably would have worked, but oh well. What are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? Yeah. It's kind of all I had to ramble about, really. I mean, My Hero Season 7 has been really fun so far. Can't wait for Dabi versus, can't wait for this fight. This is about to be a really fun fight. Because, yeah, Todoroki's been kind of shafted the last little bit. And it'll be fun to see him in the spotlight a little bit. You know, pick up the pace a little bit. Because so far, a whole lot of the good moments have been given to Bakugo and Deku. Especially Deku has been getting a lot of good moments recently. Yeah, Todoroki did have that cool move that he used against Deku in the Deku v Class 1A fight. Well, not really a fight, it's more like that rescue mission, I guess. The Deku rescue mission arc there. Not really an arc, it was like a couple episodes at max. But like anyways, it was interesting still. It was still interesting. So yeah, I can't wait for Todoroki to actually pop off a little bit. And yeah, I'm very interested to see how that Twice army shows up. Because at the end of volume 37, they have the Twice army come out. And it'll be very interesting to see how that pans out. And if they do decide to bring back Twice, like, properly with this. Because, like, it would be very interesting if they did. Because it would be a very neat twist if they did. So I'm very interested to see how that pans out. And so I'll probably compare his... If he does, like, actually come back. I know we're wrapping up at the final arc, so he's probably going to die again anyways. But, like, I wonder if these clones could, like... If one of them could, like, survive and be a Twice replacement. Because if they do, I will probably cover Twice's comeback with, like... I don't know. If someone else comes back in a really weird way, I'll, like, do a comparison of that. If not, I'll just compare Twice to these two that I've already done. But yeah. So yeah, I don't really got a whole lot more to say. This has been Pichu the 679th, and I wish you all a very good day. Bye bye now.